Welcome aboard for another video.
Thanks, Conductor Keith. Well, I got this water standpipe in the mail, and that's the purpose of this video. So follow along. Maybe some of the things I did that I've picked up from others and I'm passing on to you might help in your building better structures. Then, of course, we're going to have to, give a reason for the water standpipe to exist and run a live steam train. I was in New Brunswick visiting my daughter, and when I got home, I was surprised to find a package in the mail I wasn't expecting, and it was from Conductor Keith. Well, actually, the real Keith on Vancouver Island, but I like how he signed it Conductor Keith. There's a link to his channel in the description. It was a POLA water column, a water standpipe kit. Wow. So after figuring out where I was going to situate it, I thought I'm going to share building it with you. Well, building is in progress, and you can't really have much building without a good drop of tea. So I'm using the basic tools, a file and a sharp knife, some gel CA glue. So far it's coming along really well, and the instructions are straightforward. To keep that together, I had to use a clip on there just while it glues, and the glue finally sets. Even though it's CA glue and gel and it usually sets fast, it kept pulling apart. So I had to put this pin in that hole in a way that it was loose enough that this piece would move around unglued. So that was a little too thick for here, so I'm going to use this round file to ream out the hole a little bit. So there you go, and it moves, which is kind of nice. So this would be the handle the person would move it with, right? Cool. So I'm going to fix it down here. I'll probably do some painting and weathering on it, but it'll be able to serve the 45 millimeter gauge track here and the 32 millimeter gauge track there. But doesn't that look great? These two pieces were spare. They're just going to go over here in the general pile of stuff like that. Perfect. So a few parts I'm going to paint a rubber color, dark rubber. One is this. This would actually be a piece of probably leather or something like that, flexible material. And you can see that it's got a bucket handle here. And this would be removable on the real thing. So I'm going to paint that. I might paint the handle. Now, when you look here, you see there's this tap right there and a pipe that comes up here. And right here, this piece on the end looks like an old hose nozzle. So I'm suspecting that from here down, this part is just a water hose, a flexible water hose. So I might paint that dark rubber as well and paint this like a brass or a gold color, whatever paint I happen to have. And then I think I'm going to do some general weathering with some rust around here and this and that. So I've painted the rubber here, Tamiya flat rubber. It's not flat right now because it's still wet, but it's going to dry. While that is drying, I've got this stuff called dirt, and I've got this stuff, which is brilliant, called rust texture. And when it dries, it actually has texture to it, like rust. We'll do a few spots where you might see little bits of rust here and there. All right, as you can see, it's done. I painted the nozzle there. I painted the tip there a brass color. Rubber hose, I've chose aluminum for there. I also put a daub of aluminum there and a daub of aluminum there just for, why not? I put a little bit of brass there too. But I also put the brass color here on this valve. Now, really I used gold paint, Tester's Gold, knowing that when I sprayed it with a flat finish it would dull. Like here, that's Tester's Gold, which is usually quite bright. But once it was sprayed with the finish, it came out dull, like brass that's been out in the rain. This is the stuff I used. This is a acrylic matte varnish. Now, after I sprayed everything with the dull coat, I went back and I added some more fresh gold there and a little bit, not all of it, around here, and a little just on the edges of the valve here, just because the human hand would polish it, right? So there you go. And of course, as I mentioned before, the rust and the dirt. Now, under this drippy hose, there's some rust, and I think it's turned out okay. Now, Lord Michael is quite pleased. Another thing I did was I wanted to use wood glue to glue it to the base here. Well, this is plastic, doesn't stick very well. So the 4 little legs, I used a hacksaw and I cut little grooves into it. Then I globbed on the wood glue on the corners, and when it dries into the wood, the fact that there's these weird little angled cuts that will be filled with glue is what's going to anchor it. Because I put this here, it was a view block to the turnip halt sign that used to be there. So I moved the turnip halt sign to here, more prominent location. And because I moved the turnip halt sign, I moved this flag forward. Because I moved that flag forward, I moved this flag forward, because otherwise it looked weird. And because I moved this flag forward, I thought maybe I'll put the national flag right here beside the halt sign, because the national flag is always in the most prominent location. So there you go. This is our little station complex now. I think it looks better. I'm using my handy cutters and a bunch of cheap coffee stick stirrers to make these things, which are going to clad the flagpole bottoms. There, the flagpole bases look better, and I think we'll carry on with the steam run. Now that we have a standpipe, we can stage the scene of the locomotive being watered by Vihan the driver and Bram the stoker. As you can see in the background there, Lord Michael is helping out. He likes to get his hands dirty now and then. Conductor Keith, thanks so much for the water standpipe. It's perfect.
My pleasure, Terry. It's a house and rail warming present.
I understand you had a sly hand in this too, Steve?
Indeed. Keith asked me via secret spy network for me to give your address.
Well, it's awesome. I have such good friends. I see we have Conductor Keith on board today. The Friar is here at his favorite train watching location, of course, and he hopes that you click like on this video, that you comment, we like comments, that you share this video to encourage others, and that maybe you even subscribe. Henry, wasn't it awfully nice for Conductor Keith to provide that water pipe? I know what you mean, Marge. Yes, it was. It was awfully nice. A nice gesture indeed, and very much appreciated around here.